Professor Wale Soyinka today in Lagos bears his mind on major national issues. And abducted students from Niger and Zamfara states regain freedom. We get insights into the issues surrounding the release tonight on the program. It's an introduction to the weekend, everyone, but it's a busy day on the news desk right here in China's television. And right here on Politics Today, we're bringing to you some of the major stories that we're following for you. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Sean Kimbaloye. Let's get started. It is not every time you see him make comments on national issues, but when he does, it is on critical issues. So today, we saw the Nobel laureate, Professor Wale Soyinka, speaking. And this time, he's lending his voice on some burning national issues in the country. At a press conference in Lagos today, Professor Soyinka gave his views on cattle grazing in the country, saying the idea to go ranching is more popular with Nigerians.
Virtually the whole nation is screaming, we do not want any open cattle grazing. Whether they go by the name of cattle routes or reserves, grazing reserves, right round the entire nation, we've had opinions surmounting the antiquated modes of cattle rearing. Even the all-powerful, untouchable Mieti Allah, even they have gone on record saying that grazing, I beg your pardon, ranching is it. Ranching is what we want. And when we think all that argument, all that discussion, all that debate has been settled in rational terms, along comes a new version, rather like Decree 4. Along comes a new version of Ruga, with the president insisting on sending his agents out to go and map out the old grazing routes and recover the old grazing reserves, when governors and peoples and experts, agronomists, business people are saying, this is a business and it should be conducted in this particular way. So what is this president obsessing? Why is he obsessing about something which is being rejected right, left, and center?
Professor Wale Soyinka also spoke on the ongoing trial of the Yoruba Nation agitator Sunday Adeyemo, popularly called Sunday Igboho. He also condemned in strong terms the invitation of Channels Television Sunrise anchors at the National Broadcasting Corporation, NBC. He described the action as an expression of Decree number 4 of the military.
We've been watching the play of this, the interventions, using a spearhead this decree. And so I think nobody's left in any doubt that both the spirit and the letter of this Broadcasting Commission decree have indicated clearly where the freedom of expression is being taken. And it should be stopped as quickly as possible.
The Nobel laureate, Professor Wale Soyinka. We have more stories we put together in your favorite political roundup. Take a listen to it.
A group within the All Progressives Congress APC Niger State, known as Progressive Consolidation Group, has endorsed an Oshibajo presidency come 2023. Although the vice president earlier this week said he has no hand in the recent clamor for him to run for office in 2023 and wants to concentrate on governance, the group believes it will bring down not only tension but also facilitate unity and stability, as well as accelerate further progress in all sectors of the economy. During a visit to seek Governor Masari's support and counsel, as well as advice towards accelerating the possibility of collective success, the group's national coordinator, Ahmed Mohammed, described the governor as one who always puts the interests of the state first and one that always serves his subjects tirelessly and with patriotic dedication. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, have visited the governor of Ogun State to condole him on the death of his father. The VP was representing the President, Muhammadu Buhari. Others on the entourage are Governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, and the former Governor of Ogun State, Chief Olusegun Oshoba.
Approach to life can only come when your parents have put you on the right path. So I'm extremely pleased to say to you today that we are rejoicing and celebrating the life of an incredibly great man who not only was known for his own contribution to society as a teacher, Baba teacher, but also the fact that all through his life he supported all the worthy causes and was himself a progressive.
The immediate past president of the Senate, Dr. Bukola Saraki, and the Benue State Governor, Mr. Samuel Otom, are optimistic that the situation in the party will be resolved. Governor Otom believes the issues causing the crisis is festering because of a fifth columnist, which he identifies as the ruling All Progressives Congress.
Even the tongue and the teeth, they fight sometimes, but they find a way of resolving issues and settling.
There is a determination on PDP to resolve our issues, to be able to unite and focus on the convention ahead. That is what will drive all of us.
The Okun Development Association, an umbrella body of Yoruba-speaking people of Kogi State, have appealed to the state governor, Yahaya Bello, to cede the 2023 governorship slot to the people of western parts of the state in the interest of equity, fairness, and justice. The National Secretary of the association made the appeal in Lokoja during a press conference to celebrate the 30 years of Kogi State's creation. It is at the time has come for Okunland and Kogi West to present the next governor of the state.
For the legal agenda of this administration to be institutionalized, for posterity sake, the next gubernatorial candidate should be zoned to Kogi West.
Thank you so much, everyone. Then you'll be updated with your political roundup stories. Before we get into the issues of national security concerning Zamfara and Niger State, let's talk briefly some politics. And it's about the politics of the main opposition party, People's Democratic Party, PDP. It does look like there is some calm now after leaders of the party met today in Abuja. And there are now calls for calm after the Board of Trustees went into a closed-door session, after which resolutions are delivered to the media. Following the ruling from the State High Court in Kebbi State, reinstating Mr. Uche Secondus as the national chairman of the PDP. Mr. Secondus resumed work today at the PDP Secretariat in Abuja, while the party held its Board of Trustees and caucus meeting. The Board of Trustees of the party is asking that all court matters be withdrawn from now as they work towards peace in the party. They are submitting the party's National Executive Council a request that the National Convention of the party be held on the 30th and 31st of October 2021. Take a listen to them.
We have just risen from our 40th meeting of the National Caucus of our great party, the PDP, where we have resolved to submit to the neck of our party tomorrow a recommendation from the National Working Committee for the National Convention of our party to be held between Friday 30th of October to Saturday 31st of October. Venue will be determined by the grace of God tomorrow by NEC. Also, this distinguished body had empaneled 8 distinguished leaders of our party under the able leadership of former President of the Senate, Senator David Mark, to interface with our leaders who are involved in these issues of court, so that all court matters can be now withdrawn and then for normalcy to continue to return to the party. I appeal on behalf of this body to all well-meaning members of our party to sheathe their sword and let us embrace peace, because Nigeria is waiting for PDP, and I believe that we have the capacity to resolve whatever issues we have internally.
Let's first and foremost touch on the internal crises or issues in the People's Democratic Party. Let's get some insights into the matter. Now, I'm being joined by a former Minister of Aviation and a chieftain of the PDP, Mr. Osita Chidoka, who joins us from Maryland in the United States. Thank you so much, Mr. Chidoka, for joining us tonight. Does this mean that this is some kind of calm, or your party should approach these with some caution, considering that the last time around we thought that it was calm, then we saw a court case from River State and then another one from Kebbi State. Do you, in your inner mind, or what does your inner mind tell you about what transpired today and the outcome of the meetings of the leaders?
Well, I'm in touch with the leaders of PDP and some of the leaders, and what I can say with certainty is that PDP is a very resilient organization. After 21 years, we have a lot in our bags of issues, challenges, and how to resolve them. But what you see today is just the natural clarification that comes from following a judicial and democratic process. The PDP constitution was clear who will be the acting chairman in the absence of the chairman. And despite initial hiccups, everybody submitted to the right acting chairman, who is the deputy chairman, South. And then after that, depending on the court order, the chairman stepped aside. Then there was another court order that restored him to office, and he came back. So, but the two things that are in front of us is the party convention of National Convention, which the caucus have agreed now to go ahead with on the 30th and the 31st. So I believe that by the time the next meeting is over, which I believe it should be over by now, they will be able to give clear information about the venue, the timing, and all of that, all the logistics issue around it. So I do not think that, and I do not foresee any more problems arising from this, but if any comes up, we will deal with it accordingly.
I like your optimism, and it does look like even in the ruling APC, that optimism, and I actually love what you guys call it. You said, usually you often say, it's a family affair. And so in this family affair, former Senate President David Mark has been saddled with the responsibility of asking those that went to court to withdraw their court cases and the lawsuits. But how easy will that be, considering the grievances of some of those who have gone to court?
Well, it will always be easy, because at the end of the day, the fight is not to finish. Like the famous Solomon's case in the Bible, looking at the child that is alive, only the person that did not give birth to a child will want a situation where you divide the child. So long as you want the child alive, there will always be room for compromise. There will always be room for coming together. And I believe that this was different tendencies within the PDP who have different approaches to the same issue. The issue is to build a resilient PDP for 2023 election. Now, people have divergent opinion about how that can be done, about the personnel that can lead us to that point. But I want to say that I think that what we are seeing today is just a mark of the internal process of the PDP, a mark of its internal resilience. So if any of the parties involved in the suit are still, as I presume, interested in getting the PDP up and running for the 2023 election, then I believe that it will not be difficult for them to withdraw from court and come to the table to discuss.
You know, one of the reasons why I like having a conversation on this program with you is because of your analytical mindset in approach to issues. And I'd like to engage you in a few of those now. I was at the Eagle Square pre-2015 at that national convention where it looks like all hell let loose on your party. Walking out of by major leaders of the party, the new PDP emerging and joining forces with other political parties, governors totally divided, leaders of the party are not agreeing, BOT divided. And it does look to me like the traits that I saw that day is reappearing. And some of the gladiators that were involved are also actively involved now. It looks like a deja vu incident. Give me your thoughts on, I mean, I'm very sure that you were around at that time on that very day that we're talking about, when the president was seated, the vice president was seated, and members and leaders of the party, governors were working out on the national convention. And that was one of the reasons why leaders in your party said it led to the loss of your party at the election in 2015.
Okay, so there's no deja vu here if you were conversant with issues of 2015. In 2015, Nigeria had been, there were issues that had led PDP to its crisis. And I will point out two of those issues. One was the idea of the Governors Forum, who will be the chairman. And there was Governor Mechi and there was Governor Jang being supported by the president. And of course, they went to the election and Governor Mechi became the chairman of the Governors Forum. So that created a crack in the party because there was a division about who would be the chairman of the Governors Forum. Then on the second part, there was what I would call an ethnic rebellion in the PDP. I call it ethnic because it was predominantly by the northern governors of the PDP who felt that President Jonathan should not have gone for a second term. And amongst those was somebody like the governor of Adamawa at that time, Governor Nyako, and he had other supporters, who now, other supporters like Governor Babangida Aliyu, he had Governor Kwankwanso from Kanu, he had Governor of Jigawa State at that time. So what happened was that they were of the opinion that President Jonathan should not go for a second term. Aligned with that opinion was their visit to the US, where the governor of Adamawa pointed out that President Jonathan was behind Boko Haram. And the idea was to destroy the election of 2015. So those two actions led to what you saw in Eagle Square, when the simple issue of the control of the Adamawa structure, the Adamawa State Party structure was being in contention because the chairman at that time, Bamanga Tuko, had already kind of taken the structure away from the governor, who was perceived to be anti-President Jonathan. So this is just talking about it in broad strokes. I don't want to go into the details. But then the governor said, if the structure of Adamawa is not given to the governor of Adamawa State, we will stage a walkout. So at the accreditation, they accredited the members that was in favor of Alhaji Bamanga Tuko. And that led to the walkout of the governors in Eagle Square. That was the immediate reason. But beyond that, there were the remote causes I have mentioned, the break in the PDP, the fear that President Jonathan had reneged on an agreement, and also the worry.
Mr. Chidoka, you know why I love you know what I said it, I meant it in every sense of it. So I love the way you put it. And so the influence of governors, the role of major stakeholders in the party, and we're seeing that sort of trait, and I mentioned it earlier, those kind of traits have reappeared, and it does look like they have appeared so strongly this time around. And that's why I said it looks like deja vu.
So that's the thing. I want to show you the difference. The more example that will have fitted this is the disagreement that comes between a governor and the people that they have sent to Abuja. And I'll give you two instances. The instance of Chairman Okwinwodo, Okwesileze Nwodo, and Governor Sullivan Chime. So Governor Okwesileze Nwodo was at Eagle Square in 2011 when a court order was served on him that he was no more a member of the party in Enugu State. So there have always been this tension between Abuja-based politicians and the local politicians. if you look at the issue of, and I gave that example recently, the issue of the Senate president, Senator Anyim could not come back to the Senate because Governor Sam Egwu was opposed to his coming back. Senator Ken Nnamani could not come back to the Senate because Governor Governor Chimaroke Nnamani was opposed to his coming back. Now, this is a dynamic between Governor Wike and Uche Secondus, who he helped to come to Abuja.
Is there any evidence to that?
Any evidence to what?
To what you just mentioned between Rivers Governor and Prince Secondus?
No, of course, that's the major issue in the party today. The major internal issues today is that the governor of Rivers State is of the opinion that PDP is underperforming. And that's the contention. So what is happening today when you see court order from Rivers State and court orders from here is just a token of that internal dynamics. And which is why I said it is not a major party crisis. It is the nature of our political system. No national chairman or no national officer have been able to withstand the position of his governor. So there is always this, challenges that you witness when you have somebody from a local party with a governor in his base. There's always that dynamic. It is different from 2015. 2015 was a different issue.
Okay, so let's look at the way forward now, because the issue of the venue of the National Convention is on one hand. The issue of zoning is going to be another issue. Whether or not these national positions of the party should be, the statuses should be maintained, then that means if it's maintained, if a southern national chairman is approved by the NEC, that means that your party has opted for a northern presidential candidate. And the debate also of whether or not the party should not have its convention in Abuja, that disagreement has happened also in your party. How do you hope that this will happen tomorrow at the NEC meeting?
Well, all I can say is that the NEC meeting of the party will resolve these issues. There must be an agreement one way or the other. The PDP has enough memory, internal capacity and memory and bandwidth to control the issues confronting us today. So I'm only saying that what you are seeing here today is what you see in all the political parties as you go towards a national election. You can see that happening in APC. You can even see that in the smaller parties. Even in APGA, in Anambra State, as the governorship election came, you saw a flurry of court cases. So because political parties in Nigeria have been serving as special purpose vehicles, people come there during elections and use it to get to power. And then after that, we enter into a hiatus. All is calm until the next election. So there is bound to be arguments about where the zoning should go, but that I believe will be resolved by the party. And I trust that the organs of PDP are strong enough to resolve those issues. There is, for me, there is no major crisis. Why I have given you the difference between the scenarios you've painted is to show you that there's no major crisis. This is not an existential crisis for PDP.
Thank you for that. Probably you might give a description whether or not it's a leaky roof or is a house without a roof at the moment. But it does look like water is letting in your party. Maybe it's some flood, or it's just some little water that is troubling your house. But the days as the approaches will tell us more. Well, let's look at the effect of this crisis in your party. Already, the governorship election in Anambra State is been affected by some of these issues. 2023 election is also being drawn into this matter. But some members of the party are worried that should the status quo be maintained in the party leadership, the party's chances might be affected. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, of course, every crisis will have effect on any organization. What you want at all times is to maintain a certain level of compromise, or rather, a certain level of peace within the organization for us to focus on these external issues. Let me point out again that I think that the challenge facing the political parties in Nigeria today is not the challenge of where the chairmanship is zoned or who is the chairmanship. It is, for me, the failure of the political parties in Nigeria to be at the vanguard of the democratization process. That is to say, the party's infrastructure is not modernizing as fast as INEC is modernizing. INEC has moved away from where they were in 1999 to a very technical organization with a lot of investments in technology. The political parties haven't done the same. Our political parties haven't even come to the level where INEC is. That is why we keep having these issues. Once we resolve those issues and have our internal operations and led by the people on ground, then crises in various parts of the party will not impact on the party's chances for an election. And I believe that this will not impact on the party's chances in Anambra, because what will matter most in Anambra is the opinion of the PDP in Anambra and how the PDP in Anambra is able to come together towards achieving the goal of winning the party in the state. Of course, the national support will be critical. The National Campaign Council is well put together and highly star-studded by PDP governors, but that will only be ancillary help to the forces on ground. So being able to rebuild the party from the ward level, from the polling unit level, all the way to the local government and the state is the critical task that will face PDP in the next few years. Because unless we get to the point where INEC is, unless we get to the point where we can dimension our political parties, our electoral map, to see where our voters are coming, to see who are the demographics that vote for PDP, to see what are the issues important to those demographics, and how do we continue to deliver that to the demographics that support PDP. We will be playing a blind game. So I am of the strong opinion that the impact of this personnel crisis is not very disturbing to the party as the challenge of modernizing the party infrastructure to be able to reach out to his massive supporters across the country. PDP has one of the best ground games in Nigeria. It has one of the widest appeal in Nigeria. It has one of the best infrastructure in terms of membership across the country. But we haven't been able to modernize that system. And I think that's our major task going forward. So I don't believe this crisis is going to impact the election in Anambra greatly.
Mr. Osita Chidoka, former Minister of Aviation and a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, thank you so much for the insights and your thoughts that you've shared with us right here on the program. Thank you indeed.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. It's good news for the nation and the families of students abducted in Niger and Zamfara State. Today, the abducted students of the College of Agriculture and Animal Science, Bakura, Zamfara State, have regained their freedom 12 days after a gunman whisked them away from the institution. According to Governor Bello Matawale, the students were released today through the help of some repentant bandits. And the Niger State government have freed 93 pupils kidnapped from an Islamic seminary in Niger State nearly 3 months ago. That's according to the school's head teacher. But one of the pupils died, unfortunately, in the captor's den. The head teacher, Abubakar Al-Hassan, did not say if any ransom was paid and how the pupils were released. The government had abducted the school children from their school in Rafi local government area of Niger State on the 30th of May. They demanded a ransom of about 110 million naira and threatened to kill the victims, or 11 of the students were released later, according to the Niger State government. To get insights into all of these issues, we get very, very informed guest on the program from Abuja studio. He's a federal lawmaker, Senator Sani Musa, and from Gusau is Dr. Sani Shinkafi, an advisor to the governor of Zamfara State. Both of them will be giving us insight into this good news and how we can secure some of these states. That's going to be next on the program. These two guests of mine will be discussing these students that are now freed at last. Join us again, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us right here on the program. Let's get to talk about the good news that are coming. But look, tonight our focus is how to secure some of these children in their schools so that they cannot will not have the fear of being abducted or kidnapped. Look at those innocent kids. And so good news. It gladdens the heart of everyone to see that these kids are now returned to their families. Let's get some insights now. Look at that weak one there. So let's get some insight from Senator Sani Musa, who is in our Abuja studio, and also Dr. Sani Shinkafi. Senator, thank you so much. I know I spoke with you when these kids were abducted, and I'm very sure that some of them are your members of your constituents, and I saw the passion which you spoke when I called you when this happened, and the scenario you painted about the situation of things in that area. What can you tell us about the release of these students and how they were released? Can you give us insight into these?
Thank you, Mr. Sheun, and good evening, viewers. I think today or yesterday, I will call it a memorable day for all Nigerians. And credit must be given to the Niger State government, to the governor of Niger State, His Excellency Alhaji Abubakar Sadiq Sani Bello, who has done everything possible. He has done everything possible to see that these children regain their freedom. A lot of people wouldn't know what he has been going through. We have been talking almost every day about this issue. I know how much and how far he has gone, both in intelligence gathering, in even knowing where these children are, in knowing the condition of these children. He did very, very well, and I can say we must thank him and extend the appreciation of the parents also to him. All these children are from my constituency, and nobody will have a child. Even if you don't have a child, you would not want to see a toddler going through what these children have gone through. First and foremost, the trauma. These are little innocent kids. But there is nothing anyone can do than to thank the Almighty Allah for sparing their lives, for putting that conscience in the minds of those bandits not to harm these children, that they have not harmed these children. Unfortunately, we lost one, and that was due to illness. You can imagine the condition where they are. I don't want to go back to it, but I believe that we have a lot to do, and we are ready to do most of these things in order to secure our environment, not only schools. This country must be free of this insecurity, and I am very sure, without mix of word, Mr. President is on top of this thing. Yes, we are all Nigerians. We belong to different divides. We belong to different ethnic groups. But I will tell you, peace and insecurity, they are two parallel, and they are two divided entities. So what we all Nigerians should try to imbibe and preach is peace. Condemnation does not give you that peace that we require. I've seen the effort of Mr. Governor. I've seen the effort of all the people surrounding him in how they will tackle this thing. And my appreciation is that these children are back home. There was not too much noise. Nobody knows what this gentleman was doing. As of 2 days ago, he was right inside the den of a forest in Mariga, where the security outfits the state government formed and hunters were able to chase away these bandits. And this is the position he has taken. And this is what is going to yield result for this country. We must not sit down every time to wait until when we are attacked. But fine and good, these children are back. And one thing I want Nigerians to know, the school at which this dastardly act did happen was a private Islamic school. It was a school that the pupils usually come in the evening, maybe around 4 o'clock. Some might come around 9. It's not like a normal conventional school. It's an Islamic school. And when they come, they do the Islamic school, I mean the Arabic studies, and they go back home. So most of these children are within the same environment. So you can see it's not like there is negligence. These children were not under even the school authority because they are not in a boarding institution. The Islamic school is not a boarding institution. It's like a day institution where they will come from their houses and go back. But so as it is, we are lucky that these children are back home safely.
If, Senator, you've been describing the situation for us, but I will ask the terrain and what is being done to ensure that that difficult terrain which you described to me the last time I spoke with you is being overwhelmed by our security agencies and the presence of the local policing system that the governor has put in place. But tell us, because we are hearing about 110 million naira ransom which they were asking, they were threatening. Did any money exchange for these children, or we were successful to get them without any ransom?
The Niger State government has made it very categorically clear, and it's one of the policies of the state government, which His Excellency initiated. There is no payment of ransom for whatever reason. And I so much agree with him. I'm one of those people that agreed with that policy. Because the more you give the ransom, the more the trade will continue, because they have turned it to a trade. But I will give you some instances. When they approached the government asking for ransom, the government felt it cannot go against its policy. But you having your children, the parents decided that, look, I have a farm, I have a motorcycle, I have a small car. They all sold what they have to be able to gather what they can take to these bandits. That is their own initiative, not government at all. And unknown to government, unfortunately, when they took this money, the man that took the money and everyone that was to be released, those that will be released, were held back. There was no money given back. The person that took the money was also detained. Not until when about 13 of them were able to have a way to escape. And after they escaped, these people opened a new request. They now asked for more of the ransom. And the state government insisted that we are not going to pay a kobo. Now these children were taken. These people now complain that they were feeding these children. They have spent so much of their money. But the policy of government is that no ransom will be given. And they pleaded, the parents pleaded. The parents were almost in fact, almost every day. I don't know the number of calls Mr. Governor will be receiving from these parents, but I know I have received so many calls appealing that we should do something about it. But, we are part of this government, and we cannot encourage payment of ransom. So the parents did their best. Now let me tell you, from what I heard reliably, when few of the children were falling ill, one became very serious. These same bandits were running helter-skelter to look for how they would give medication to this to this child. Unfortunately, the child gave up. He lost his life. From there again, these bandits decided to open communication with the school teacher, with the head teacher of the school, which they have caught doing before. For a very long time, they refused to contact everybody. So when they opened that chapter of communication, the head teacher now gathered the parents, and they all decided to put it to prayers. And all the parents said, we are people of faith. For whatever reason, if these people thought this is the best way they would take away these children, and if it is the way that these children will go back to God, be it. But they are not ready to give anything anymore.
Wow, what a story there.
They insisted, but at the end of the day, the head teacher, who is also so much concerned because he was holding, the custody of these children, it was at this school that these children were captured. Now, as he was communicating the way I spoke with him, he bursted to tears when they told him that one of the pupils...
Senator, yeah.
He bursted to tears.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So let me take...
At the end of the day, yep.
Let me take a moment, please.
Give you this. It's very important.
Okay, please, yeah, quickly, yeah.
At the end of the day, the bandit said he should give them 2 hours they are going to call. They didn't call in 2 hours until the next day. They called. They said, this government of Lolo said it's not going to give us money. Okay, we are not going to give you these children, we will kill them. He now bursted into tears again. And at that point, they said, where is that man that brought that ransom that the parents gathered before? They want to see that man. And from there, only God knows how it happens. And there was communication that they should come and pick up these children in far away Benungwari, which is almost about 70-something or 80-something kilometers.
Wow. Those students must have gone through a lot. Let's check with what is happening or what happened in Zamfara State. Dr. Shinkafi is with us virtually. Dr. Shinkafi, give us a sense of what the mood is like when some of these kids were returned. The students of the College of Agriculture and Animal Science, Bakura, Zamfara State. What are the circumstances surrounding their release?
Well, the circumstances surrounding their release, the students were released unconditionally. When the governor came on board, the executive governor of Zamfara State in 29 May 2019, he extended a hand of fellowship and called for all the bandits to surrender and come and embrace peace. So some of the repented bandits that embraced peace initiated by the governor, and it was through that mechanism the government used the repented leaders of armed bandits to negotiate with them unconditionally, and the students were released yesterday.
I mean, this is on the minds of a lot of people wanting to know, why is Zamfara a hotbed for these bandits in their act of abducting and kidnapping these young children or these students?
Well, the bandits have been going into rampage because of the way and the manner some people are not cooperating with the government. Because when somebody is kidnapped, the government have not encouraged payment of ransom. But the relation of the victim will now go from the backyard and start paying ransom. And the more you pay ransom to these bandits, the more you are empowering them, and the more they are buying arms and ammunition to go into this dirty trade. So this is the problem the state is facing. And they also issue of there's not much military presence in these dark spot areas, because in many occasions the federal government have promised to deploy more military forces to fight this armed banditry, but it is minimal. So there is need for the federal government to mobilize more task forces to go to deal this to handle this matter, because the way and the manner the bandits are trying to punch them to epic center of armed banditry, it is highly alarming, and we have to tell ourselves the truth. It's not in doubt. We're in serious problem. So that's it. It is like some of the people have turned it to a criminal enterprise. There's a lot of people involved in this dirty business.
But
that is what we are trying
Dr.
to
Shinkafi, yeah. Do you have an idea of the origin of some of these bandits? I know for some reasons there have been an engagement with them. Do they look like they're from Nigeria, or where do they look like they're from? Are they from outside of this place?
No, some of the bandits are really indigenous, the native of for example, a state. But there is some allied forces from the foreign country, mostly in Niger or Mali, and as for people, they also try to recruit among the houses. So it's a lot of camp spread across the state. But one of the dark spots of this bandit is Subugo Forest, where Ahmed Gumi visited some few months ago. And there is another camp also in Shinkati Forest, in Sado Forest. So there are many camps around across the state. So these bandits, most of the leaders of the bandits are indigenous. So
if they are indigenous, that means there is a problem there, because they probably have informants within the communities where they're applying their trade or they're operating. How do you hope, or how is the government handling this in such a way that the activities are curbed?
Well, the government was able to come out with some pronouncement today, try to close down all the major markets across the state where these bandits came and sell the cattle they rustled from the forest or from the villages, and also trying to cut their food supply. And all the major filling stations across the border side were closed down. And the government give an order, executive order. Any motorcycle operator carrying more than 3 persons on the motorcycle, the security agency should shoot aside. And also the governor comes out with also another executive order that no petrol filling station will sell petrol in their can and drum. So, and the government is trying to collaborate with security agencies how to come about with the civilian joint task force, where the locals will be recruited for community policy in Zamfara State. And this is the way also they can checkmate the excesses of informers.
Yeah, so
most of these bandits, they heavily, they pay people heavily to get an information, and when they got information from the informer, they strike.
Quickly also, it was just about 2 days ago or so that the governor was asking that the president should declare a state of emergency on security in the Northwest region. But when we wonder, do you have an idea as a government of the sponsors of these bandits?
Well, I cannot precisely say we can identify easily the sponsors of the bandits, because the governor inherited this issue of armed banditry. The issue of armed banditry was in existence for the past 78 years. So it will be very difficult to identify the sponsor of the bandit. But I'm telling you, it's a criminal enterprise. Security agencies, an allegation of even from security agencies are aiding and abetting this criminality. And some politicians, traditional rulers, food suppliers, dealers of motorcycles, a lot of people, even some part of this quack medical doctors are part of this criminal enterprise. So it is that's another value chain. So what I'm trying to say is it will be very difficult to define it. But I think going by the way things are going, we will be trying to make sure that anybody who is involved in this deadly act will be dealt with accordingly.
Let me go to back to our Abuja studio with Senator Musa, Sani Musa. Senator, the way forward, the cause of this, can you give us an idea, specifically in Niger State? Have you been able to identify the causes or the cause of this banditry, the armed banditry? Because I know that it's been in operation for a long time, and those perhaps who are behind it, have you been able to identify it? Then quickly we can also talk about the way for the solution.
Thank you, Shaun. Identifying who are the sponsors of this banditry or who are the bandits itself, I can tell you in Niger State, this is very alien. It is alien to the state. Banditry started coming in when, if I will recall, there was a joint state, joint forces by Katsina, Zamfara, Kaduna at a particular time. And when the Mr. President deployed the armed forces, members of the armed forces to Zamfara State at one particular time, that was when we started having the inflow of implosion of these bandits into Niger State. And when they came, normally, of course, they don't know the terrain at all. But usually, they will get informants. And I knew the state government was on top of this because they were able to arrest some of these informants. And I'm very sure these informants have given the state, the security agencies some very vital informations that have led to what we are facing, what we are seeing today, the kind of improvement we have seen in terms of these security lapses within Niger State, especially within my senatorial district. And with the efforts of His Excellency, the governor, we were able to get military personnel deployed to Niger State. And that has also been able to sustain this banditry. But when you ask who are the sponsors, I will tell you, yeah. I cannot imagine when people will collect ransom and still maintain and remain in the bush. And this ransom, we hear them usually pay, especially you heard what happened during when they arrested this, when they kidnapped these university students in Kaduna. How can you collect 50 million, 100 million, and you are still in the bush? It's not possible.
So, Senator,
you can't spend that money in the bush.
Let's close the program now. I'm being told that I just have about 60 seconds or less to go. Just in 30 seconds, what do you think is one thing that can permanently resolve this armed banditry in the region?
I think Mr. President have taken a position on this, and we should all give Mr. President all the necessary support to be able to allow the armed forces to take care of this. There will be collateral damage. No way, no two ways about that. But after the collateral damage, there will be the return of peace in this country. So what I'm saying in essence is that the camps where all these bandits are known. They usually they usually kidnap people and hold them hostage in order to have a cover against military attack.
All right, Senator.
But with what has happened, I think it is necessary for the military to do whatever necessary to clear up this bandits.
Thank you, Senator.
Once and for all.
Yeah. Dr. Shinkafi, 20 seconds, if you may. One solution from your end, in the Zamfara point of view, that you think is the solution to this problem. One of it.
The major solution is to deploy more jet fighters in this armed bandit hideout and to fight them, and also to engage these civilian JTF hunters to go into the bush and clear the ground. And that should be also a very important thing the government should do. Should now try to revisit the issue of grazing reserve law. Because if you look at it, there is about 415 grazing reserves. Only 2 grazing reserves are in Ogun and Oyo. If the government can come out with a new grazing reserve policy, most especially in the northern Nigeria, I think the issue of farmers and herders.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sani Shinkafi, the special advisor to Governor of Zamfara State, and Senator Sani Musa, a federal lawmaker representing Niger State in the Senate. It's a pleasure having both of you talk to us tonight on the program, and congratulations for the freedom of those students. But that's how we end the program tonight. Many thanks, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye for now.